Making $80,000 a year feels rich until you look at your bank account and realize you have less saved than an average college student. It makes no sense on paper. You did everything you were supposed to do. You studied hard, landed a solid job, climbed the ladder, and finally secured a paycheck that your younger self would have looked at with sheer admiration. Yet every single month ends with the exact same suffocating question: where did all the money actually go? You aren't reckless, you aren't gambling in Vegas or buying luxury sports cars on a whim, but somehow the financial freedom you expected never arrived. Instead, earning more money just made staying afloat more expensive. To understand why this is happening, you have to realize a brutal truth. Your bank account is not being drained by your bad luck. And it isn't even being drained by inflation. It is being drained by an invisible psychological trap that catches almost everyone the moment their income crosses a certain line. Consider a simple story. Meet David. At 22, David made $35,000 a year. He shared a cramped apartment with two roommates, drove a beat-up sedan with mismatched hubcaps, and ate instant noodles while splitting $6 burritos on weekends. It was tight, but oddly enough, he wasn't stressed. When an unexpected flat tire happened, he had $500 tucked away in a basic savings account. Fast forward 7 years, David is now making close to $120,000 a year. On paper, he's in the top tier of earners for his age. But look under the hood. He lives in a sleek downtown one-bedroom with floor-to-ceiling windows. He leases a sharp German car with ambient lighting. He grabs $16 artisanal lunches without blinking and taps his phone to pay for round after round at trendy rooftop bars. Here is the dark paradox. If David loses his job tomorrow, he will run out of money in less than 45 days. At $35,000 a year, he was financially fragile. At $120,000, he's on the verge of a financial heart attack. What happened to David is something economists call lifestyle creep, but psychologists call it the hedonic treadmill. When your income rises, your baseline for what feels like a necessity quietly shifts. You tell yourself, I work 60 hours a week, I deserve a nicer bed, a nicer car, a nicer apartment. And in isolation, each upgrade feels completely reasonable. What nobody warns you about is the hidden friction that comes with every single upgrade. A nicer apartment doesn't just mean higher rent, it means higher utility bills, pricier parking fees, and a pressure to buy furniture that matches the modern aesthetic. A luxury car doesn't just come with a monthly payment, it demands premium fuel, doubled insurance premiums, and $400 basic oil changes. Without ever making a conscious decision to blow your cash, your cost of merely existing quietly rises to match every single dollar you earn. You traded financial margin for aesthetic comfort. Now, you might think the solution is simply self-control. But self-control is powerless against a deeper, more dangerous force: the status tax. Human beings are deeply social creatures wired for hierarchy. For thousands of years, your standing in the tribe determined your survival. Today, that instinct has mutated into consumer signaling. You don't just buy things to use them, you buy things to signal who you are to your peers. When you start earning more, your peer group changes. You find yourself sitting at dinner with coworkers who wear particular watches, live in specific neighborhoods, and take vacations to places you've only seen on social media feeds. A subtle, unspoken pressure begins to hum in the background. You start spending money you haven't saved to project an image of success to people who are far too busy worrying about their own image to actually care about yours. This creates the ultimate illusion: looking wealthy while being completely broke. Most people confuse cash flow with net worth. If you make $10,000 a month and spend $9,900, you are not rich. You are just a very expensive conduit through which money passes on its way to someone else's balance sheet. You are running a multi-million-dollar company inside your household that operates on a 0% profit margin. Think about that for a second. If a business made $10 million a year in revenue, but spent $9,990,000 to keep the lights on, would you call that business successful? You would call it a ticking time bomb. Yet that is exactly how millions of high-earning professionals run their personal lives every single day. Why does this cycle feel so impossible to break? Because our modern financial system is engineered to eliminate spending friction. A decade ago, spending money came with physical pain. You had to open a wallet, pull out crisp paper bills, and physically watch your stack shrink. Today, spending is invisible. You tap a piece of glass, wave a plastic card, or click a button on a screen. The pain centers in your brain don't even register that a transaction occurred until you look at the monthly statement weeks later. By the time you feel the pain of spending, the money is already gone. You end up stuck in a cycle of earning, upgrading, feeling briefly satisfied, adapting to the new normal, and needing the next raise just to feel secure again. You tell yourself, if I just make another $20,000, I'll finally start investing. But when that raise arrives, the exact same psychological engine takes over, and the new money vanishes before it ever has a chance to work for you. Real financial freedom has almost nothing to do with how high your income peaks. It is entirely determined by the gap between what you earn and what you need to feel satisfied with your life. The wider that gap, the freer you are. The narrower that gap, the tighter the golden handcuffs become. True wealth is not the car you drive, the label on your jacket, or the view from your apartment. True wealth is silence. It is waking up on a Tuesday morning knowing that if you lost your job, if the economy crashed, or if you simply wanted to walk away from a toxic environment, you could do so without asking anyone for permission. Stop buying back the stress you work so hard to escape. Next time your income goes up, let your standard of living stay exactly where it is. Keep your freedom quiet, keep your overhead low, and remember, the goal was never to look rich to the world. The goal was to be free.